Okay, I'm going live.
Fantastic. I'm still not able to see you, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, I can't see
It's
you
fine.
either, or I will not see, I will not look at you either. If that makes you
Okay.
feel any better.
Not really. I don't really care. You look at me.
All right, I'm just going to confirm that we're live here. We probably are.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking.
All right. Yep.
Yeah, I can definitely see you.
Cool. Well, when this plays on the podcast, you're going to hear the theme song, but I'm not going to play the theme song right now. I'm just going to start the show, Aiden.
All right. Sounds
Eh,
good. Let's do it.
Awesome. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. It's episode 52. We're live on Twitch. Aiden, you can't really see my office, and I can't really see your office, but I'm going to give our viewers a couple of things to look at here in my office. Over my right shoulder, you can see the championship trophy of one of my 3 fantasy football leagues. The only game I play as seriously as I play and follow Dota is fantasy football. And I'm actually thinking about putting out a Lazy Man's Fantasy Football one-pager for our audience. What would you think about that, Aiden?
I have almost no thoughts. None whatsoever.
The second thing I'll point out is on my chest, and that is the team secret jersey that Aiden organized our Dota friends to get me when my wife got pregnant with our first child, and I wore this puppy jersey for my child's birth. Thanks, Aiden, and looking forward to getting you a Ramses jersey when you knock Becca up.
Ooh. 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 I want Ramses? That's such a hard choice. There's so many. The VP players are all so good. So good. But can it be one of the orange ones, not this stupid purple and green shit?
I was actually just thinking about that today, that I would want to get you a throwback if I possibly could.
Absolutely. All right.
It's a shame that that's a throwback.
I know, right? It's so much a better logo. Orange and black and white is just a great color scheme.
What do you have to show our listeners?
The only thing of real significance is the EG symbol here, which is not signed by EG, by the way. It's signed by Team Secret from Captain's Draft. Go in there.
Was that weird asking them to sign an EG thing?
No, because like everyone was, because like Strats
was-
for whatever reason had a bunch of those printed up, and so they were like everyone had one to sign. So I would say probably 60% of the people who signed it. I don't have it up. It's somewhere around here. Still moving. I actually don't know where it is right now. It's probably upstairs. I have my my Captain's Draft T-shirt that's also signed by Mineski, but I haven't hung it up yet. So that's about it. Everything else is pretty much just pictures, artwork that my students have made, or cute puppies. So whatever.
Nice. Oh, hey, will you paste a link into the Discord?
Sure.
Thanks.
Maybe I will. Hang on. All right. There we go. We're in. Hopefully now we have more than 0 people watching. 4. Woo. No. All right. So let's get started. Let's talk some Dota here.
Okay.
What's our agenda today?
Sure. So winners and losers of TI group stage. That's going to be a good one. Gotta talk meta. Some heroes that we definitely did not see coming. I went ahead and re-listened to our odds and prop bets episode. There was no mention of Wraith King or Mirana in that odds and prop bets episode.
So I was trying to remember. Neither of them came up. I swear Wraith King came up in one of my like which hero will get played. Will have higher priority. Did that not happen? Am I
Certainly
wrong?
it was in your blog post. I don't recall hearing it in our podcast.
Okay.
And
I thought Wraith King might have been there, but who knows? Maybe I thought that's a ridiculous hero to even discuss.
it was a ridiculous hero up until day one. We're going to make some main event predictions. You can feel free to submit questions during the episode through Twitch chat or our Discord. Keep in mind we're brand new to streaming live, so if we don't see your question, you can assume that if we don't read your question, you can assume that first of all we didn't see it, and second of all that we hate you. Okay, before we get to Dota though, Aiden, drama.
I know, right?
VGJ.Storm have been penalized. What are the deets here?
So the penalty is they get no coach in their for their first series draft, and the other penalty is they lose. It's like a level 2 draft penalty, which means they lose most of their reserve time. I don't remember the exact details, but it's a significant amount of time. I've seen it happen before, but the exact amount is probably not relevant.
Okay, so they're going to lose some reserve time and no coach in the booth. Boy, that would be a much heftier penalty if they weren't playing OG in round 1.
You say that, but we're going to get to OG. OG is not as bad. OG is pretty solid. But I agree. There are far worse circumstances this could have happened under. But first of all, so what happened? So the story is that they had 2 coaches in the box, correct?
That's right. And according to Jack, he said he repeatedly asked the admins if it was okay because there was no technical rule against it, but he knew it was unconventional. This is all according to Jack's Twitter. And he said he couldn't get a straight answer from the admins, but they didn't flat out refuse.
Right. So
I'll tell you what I would have done if I were in Jack's place. I just would have put 1 coach in the booth.
Mm-hmm. So to be clear, he asked a PGL admin, not a Valve admin. And that is a small distinction, but I think one that matters a little bit.
I agree, and I think if you were trying to be evasive in your tweet, adding that PGL in there would be a good way to throw someone off the scent. Love you, Jack.
They said what Dota 2 says. The other side of the story is that Dota 2 says they asked a PGL employee if they could have more in the draft after being instructed clearly in a required players meeting that only 5 players and 1 coach were allowed. So I'm going to go with they probably should have known better, but also
they certainly should have known better.
The PGL person should have known who could answer that question, or there should have been a far more clear person they could ask.
What an unclear chain of command! That doesn't sound like event organizers.
Absolutely. Right. Okay, but hopefully it's not going to matter. I mean, I think that the best outcome for everyone involved is if VGJ.Storm, wins and move on to the next round, and then there's no controversy, or at least that's
minimal controversy.
Minimal controversy.
Yeah.
There were a couple people on Twitter calling for VGJ.Storm to get kicked out. Honestly, I can't even imagine how much more a second coach would actually add, especially since VGJ.
They're not clicking the buttons for you, bro.
Right, and VGJ.Storm is not known for their vast hero and unconventional drafts, right? I mean, looking at some of these guys, like we're going to get to this in a bit, but Snake King played, the same 10 of his 16 games were on 3 heroes. Yawar had 11 of his 16 games on 3 heroes. Like, all right, come on.
Right, best case, maybe the second coach remembers to suggest a ban that actually gets implemented, and maybe that ban is a hero that the other team maybe wanted to pick.
Right. So I'm sort of over it already. But
yeah,
worth note. I think I am not displeased with how everyone ended up handling the situation.
Well, speaking of being pleased or displeased, how'd you feel about the group stage as a viewing experience?
So sometimes I wish that they only did 2. I mean, I know it would drag it out, but like sometimes I wish that the days were a little shorter, or that there were only like 2 games on at a time. Because it does get like kind of crazy. And like if you ask me, like you get so crazy. Like, I mean, how many games did I actually watch end to end? Right? I'm flipping over to from one game to another, trying to figure out which game is best, which game's close, which game has the most impact, what I want to see, hero picks. So I think that you do lose a little bit of like that sort of like narrative understanding, even though like I've got like I have much less. I feel like I've got a very wide breadth of understanding of what happened, but not a lot of depth in the individual, games. So, on the other hand, I mean, like the logistic issues with having it last 2 weeks and all that stuff. So, but all in all, I mean, the Dota I thought was pretty darn entertaining. So, I'm pleased.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to open us up with a pretty meaty question here. I want to know, in your opinion, who is in the top tier that would be parentheses, potential TI champions from what you've seen in the group stage?
So I am sorely tempted to cut it off after 2 teams.
Those 2 teams being?
Liquid and EG.
You don't put VP in that conversation?
I was not happy with how VP played. Now, don't get me wrong.
I didn't think they played up to their potential, no. But we know this team well.
We do, but if you're asking about how they performed at the group stage, no. I mean, Liquid and EG were, in my opinion, head and shoulders above everybody else.
I agree with that, but that doesn't mean there are only 2 potential TI champions.
No, I mean, you got to add. I mean, if you want to, wherever you're putting the threshold at, you got to add any other team that's got more than like a 10% chance. Let's say.
Sure.
It's Liquid, EG, VP, LGD, and I'm not sold 100% on VGJ.Storm, but they'd be the sort of borderline inclusion in that list.
Yeah, I have them in, but I agree with you that they're the last on the list. So what gives you hesitation other than that shallow hero pool you were just talking about?
I mean, that's mainly it. I don't. So 2 things. First of all, other than VP, so Group B was arguably tougher in terms of the depth of the group. I mean, I think if you take the 5th through 9th place teams, they would beat the living crap out of Group A's 5th through 9th place team. On the other hand, they didn't have the same, 3 of the top end of Group A was definitely stronger. And so VGJ.Storm played 1 other team in this tier, and VP kicked their ass, right? And Snaking and UR did not perform in those games. So, I mean, this question mark is still there for me on those 2.
Right. So unclear what would happen if LGD played VGJ.Storm, but I think you and I are both pretty confident if either Liquid or EG got their hands on those guys, they'd be toast. I
mean, we saw what EG did to VGJ.Storm at the summit. Like, they kicked their ass also, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it did not make it look very
UR
hard.
got destroyed by Sumail.
Yeah.
And he got handled by, I wouldn't say he got his butt kicked by no one, but it wasn't great. So, little interesting tidbit on them.
Go ahead.
Snaking's best hero, by most metrics of paying it, right? He played it the most. He was undefeated on it. Was Wraith King, right? That was also it wasn't his worst farming hero because there were a couple of heroes he played once and lost on, but it was one of his worst farming heroes for most of the game. Sure, I mean, they won a lot of games on it, so you get that inflated last 5 minutes where you're killing all kinds of buildings, stats wise. But for the 5 to 25 minute marks, he farmed relatively weakly on it and farmed much better on Nature's Prophet, Weaver, Enchantress, Marana, Necrophos, all these other sort of heroes. And I wonder a little bit if that's actually if that's good. And my argument for why it might be good is that it definitely, in what I watched, Resolution struggled early to get farm, which I think is common with a lot of position 1s right now in the meta. And maybe if they are putting a little less focus on snaking, maybe Resolution gets a little bit more in those games. But it's a little difficult to find, to easily do the stats on that. So, but I thought it was very curious. His strongest hero is also arguably, for much of the game, his lowest net worth.
Sorry, dude. I think I froze your video for a second there, but I think it's back. Sorry about that, fam. I assume audio was coming through okay.
Hope so.
Yeah, me too. Now, do you want to talk about OG?
I do want to talk about OG.
So you wrote this discussion question. Why don't you deliver it?
All right. So there were a number of false deaths predicted by me. Among other teams, I declared Vici Gaming dead, and then alive, and then dead again. I declared,
Are they dead now?
I don't even know now. I'm swearing off predicting teams as being dead because I've hopefully learned my lesson.
I have Vici Gaming dead, by the way.
Two of the teams I was most confident were dead. Windstrike, right? Windstrike was definitely dead at one point.
For sure.
Right?
Oh yeah, they were toast.
Two of the teams where I was most confident were dead were Optic Gaming and OG. And both of those teams are in the upper bracket, which is not dead by any stretch, right? So the question is, which was a bigger surprise, OG making the upper bracket or OG making the upper bracket?
I had the green OG, that would be Optic Gaming, as the bigger surprise for me, because frankly, you saw an early.
So let's figure out. Let's talk about where they were. Their situation where it was most dire was they were 4-8 after day 3.
They were 4-8 after day 3, and you saw an early draft of the slides I was preparing for this very broadcast, which was where I had penciled them in as being dismissed from the international.
Right. I mean, they needed to go. They needed at least to win go 2-2 to like stay in, and even going 4-0 was no guarantee for upper bracket. Not only did they go 4-0, they went 5-0.
Right.
In a tiebreaker. Well, I totally agree with you. So the OG's nadir was when they were 1-5 after the first series on day 2, and they looked really bad. And at that time, I thought they were awful. I thought they were collapsing mentally.
Well, and you had nothing kind to say about Thompson's performances.
Thompson was weak. In fact, I have a depressingly sad. His KDA for the tournament is 2.5, which is
GH's and YAPSOR's are way higher than that.
I mean, everyone's was higher than that.
Yeah.
His is the lowest core in the tournament, pretty much.
Right.
So I mean, it's just awful. Certainly, by far the lowest in the upper bracket. But what's interesting here, so that they just drafted Anna Centaur twice, which against EG, and that did not work. But in retrospect, you look at it. So they went 1-5 in their first 3 series.
Yeah.
In those 3 series, they put LGD, Liquid, and EG. So I mean, going 1-5 against those 3 teams is not an uncommon experience, right? For those teams that aren't like in that top tier. I mean, hell, LGD went 1-3 against the other 2 teams, right? So, right. So, but what's interesting about it is how they drafted a little bit. So you look at Anna's first 6 games. He played Monkey King twice, who is not a terrible hero, but Anna had some pretty big misplays on him, and I don't think it's an Anna hero. They played Centaur twice. He played Tiny, another sort of like mid-game initiating hero. He played Morphling, and he actually won with Morphling. So he was 0-5 with Monkey King, Centaur, and Tiny. Shockingly, he didn't play those heroes again, right?
Good adjustments.
In his remaining 10 games, over which they went 7-3, he played Morphling 3 times, Phantom Lancer 3 times, Spectre twice, an Ursa, and a Drow. And I mean, like, Morphling and PL, that's, other than maybe like Ember Spirit, that's classic Anna. So especially when he's playing safe lane and not doing the Invoker or the Storm Spirit thing, or even Alchemist thing. So anyway, so all of a sudden it seemed like they started playing to his strength and were playing to easier competition. And so it's sort of like, it makes sense that they would have the capacity to come back there. I think statistically, Optic's comeback was much more difficult.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Do you have anything more to say about those 2? Which one is going to go deeper in the tournament?
So I think I'm pretty confident they're both going to lose their first round series. I think that is not a crazy prediction.
No.
But let me look who I've got them, who I think they're going to have to play. That's the real question, is who do they run into in the lower bracket? So OG will play the winner of Newbie and Windstrike. I think OG can win that. Optic will play the winner of Fnatic and Serenity. That's tougher. I think that Fnatic is... I don't know, what do you think? Do you think Fnatic or Newbie's better? Because I've got those 2 teams winning.
It's funny. So I have OG losing to Newbie, who I think will beat Windstrike, and I have Optic beating Serenity, and I think Serenity is going to beat Fnatic.
Interesting. I have Optic losing to Fnatic and OG winning. And then if OG loses the next round to VG. But you maybe wouldn't think that because you don't think VG's any good.
Right.
I'm just hoping VG is going to replicate their lower bracket run from the Super Major. My sort of expectation. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's the reality is further is not a hugely important thing because they're either going to be losing the lower bracket round 2 or 3. I think it's pretty safe to say.
Totally. All right, let's talk about a few players. And so there are 3 players I identified who are playing well as expected. Miracle, number 1 in kills, number 1 in GPM, number 1 in experience per minute. That guy's pretty freaking good. Resolution, fewest deaths, number 1 in KDA. That's extremely resolution-like. And GH, number 1 in assists, averaging 20 per game, and 3.2 KDA. Number 1 in healing per game. By the way, did you factoid about that? All of his healing came in 3 of his 16 games. GH played 2 games of IO and 1 game of Keeper of the Light. That was all the healing.
All right, so quick little side note here. You mentioned that Miracle has the best number 1 in kills, but he is not number 1 in deaths and everything like that. I thought it was really interesting that of the top, the cores with the most deaths, 2 of them, certainly the 2 that have the most of like the top tier ones, are Miracle and Matumba Man from the top tier teams at 5.13 and 5.5. You look at some of the other ones. I mean, they're all, SCCC has like 4.3, Sumail has 4.4, maybe has 4.6. So these are significantly more. They're the only ones over 5 until you get down to like Wii or Ame, and we'll talk about Ame in a minute, or Thompson, right? So, I mean, like those are definitely a different class of team. I thought it was really interesting that he has so many deaths. And so I realized one of the things that Liquid did really, really well this tournament, dominatingly almost, you could argue, is that they used their buyback. Like they were aggressive in using their buybacks in order to win pushes. In other words, they were perfectly willing to lose Miracle or Matumba Man or Mind Control if that meant trading then for an object, like, and then buying back immediately to then take an objective.
Interesting.
You really
that is using buyback as a resource as opposed to a last resort.
Right, exactly. I think they were. I mean, I think teams in general have been doing that. I mean, especially if the buyback changes. I think Liquid are one step ahead of everybody else in doing that. And so I think it's one of the reasons why they're willing to let Matumba or a Miracle die, is because they know that that's not going to cost them, or they can use that to their advantage.
I'll buy that. That's pretty cool. All right. So I have 3 players I think are outperforming expectations. You have 3 disappointments. How you want to do this?
Why don't you give me one?
Okay. I like Sheen Q. So we had called Sheen Q kind of a wild card. This is the offlaner for Team Serenity, for those not following as closely. Sheen Q basically had no Liquipedia page, very little history on him. But he's playing a Fada type role. He's nominally the offlaner, but he's playing a bunch of carries, helping Serenity win the side lanes. When they beat VP in that game, he played a 13-2-7 Ursa. They beat Team Secret too. He was 13-0-17 on Tiny that game. Sheen Q.
Right, and he played an Alchemist, right?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah.
So, point of interest, by the way, he also has higher GPM than either his position 1 or nominal position 1 or number 2. I think you would.
And Jujuju, I mean, was by far the most name brand player on that team, so we thought.
Right. We actually heard that he, from one of our listeners, that he is not well respected in the Chinese scene. Jujuju isn't.
Interesting.
So, I mean, so that makes sense, but still, I mean, and they really played him. I'm looking at the heroes he played. Well, I'm trying to, at least. He played Mirana, who this tournament is being played as a carry. He played Ursa, which a lot of teams are playing as kind of a position 3, but it's like a hybrid. It's when the 1 and the safe and the offlane are the same, right? He played Tiny. He played Storm Spirit twice, at least once in the safe lane, which as a Storm Spirit player I don't love. He played Ricky, he played Necrophos, he played Void, he played Alchemist. In most cases, I would look at that and I would say that's a position 1 player.
Sounds that way, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I think arguably he was one, like GGG was being forced to create the space for him. If I had to really describe what was happening when they were playing.
Right, and they finished with a mediocre record, but probably certainly better than you expected, and I think better than I expected too.
Yeah, I mean, although let's remember they finished tied for. I mean, I know it's like a four-way tie, but it's like we predicted them to be one of the lower teams, and they were one of the lower teams. Sure, they went 7-9, which is better than that, but it certainly seems that teams are closer together. So it's not like you can. That's not as.
I think or my preconceived notion going in was that they would be closer to the bottom than to the upper bracket, and they were one game off the upper bracket.
Arguably, they were they were one game off the upper bracket. They were, 2 games off lower bracket. But okay, fair enough.
We're splitting hairs here. All right,
but I mean, again, everyone's crammed together in the middle, far more than normal.
Totally. Who is disappointing you, Aden?
So my first disappointment is Ramses, and that's going to sound kind of dumb because he kicked the shit out of VGJ.Storm in their final 2 series. And of course,
the most important series VP played, by the way.
I would argue the one before that was more important because losing to VG Gaming meant that their VGJs they couldn't take number 1, which was really important because now they've got LGD. But anyways, so he's their drafter, not happy with VP's drafts.
What are they doing that you don't like?
I know this is sort of like a common thing now, but it seems like they're like kind of drafting a little cheesy, like Liquid does, and that's not VP style. Like draft normal shit and to just go beat the crap out of the other team. And they did that a little better against VGJ.Storm. But that, like, just in general, I mean, if you're the drafter, and again, his void play was real poor. So I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the way VP was playing and VP's picks. His stats are really good though. He's in the top like 5 in terms of kills, in the top, in KDA, which shocked me because I thought he was having he's number 4 in KDA and number 4 in kills. So I mean, misreading a little bit, but I will say his Ursa play in game 1 against VGJ.Storm, he was able to continue to pick out resolution out of a crowd of PL illusions correctly and blow him up was
that's sweet,
very impressive. So
totally. All right, let's keep it moving. I just noticed we're at 27 minutes here.
Forever.
Tavo also playing well against expectations. Pain Gaming eliminated, but I think a lot of people on Twitter, Nahaz included, were calling them the best TI team ever to miss the main event. I think I would agree with that.
I mean, yes, that's 100% true. Is there any team that would have not I feel kind of like any team that doesn't make it this year is the best team, right? I mean,
no, it's a technicality, but it's a really important point, which is that the field has gotten a lot more competitive. Anyway, Tavo's Pangolier, out of control good, and that team, I mean, even not winning that many games, really entertaining, and they were certainly competitive.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, totally back to you.
All right, Raven. Coming in, I thought Raven was this carry that I think of as stable, and then if the mid player for TNC has a good game, they're going to kick people's ass. 6.75 kills per game. By the way, I mean, his KDA is fine, but that's just because he's got the second lowest deaths just behind Resolution. We know he's a low deaths guy. But 6.75 kills per game behind such luminaries as Non-Grata, the Windstrike offlaner. Like, come on, man. You are TNC's most experienced player, pretty much. I know the other guys have all played about as long as you, but you're playing at this high level. You've got to do better than that. And to be fair, some of that's on Cuckoo. Stop picking Raven Dro. Like, why? Come on. And we haven't even seen Raven's signature heroes like Terrorblade, which some other teams are picking, or his Razor. I would love to see some Raven Razor. So I think he's I think he's definitely underperforming, and some of that's just to drafting choice, but some of that's just he's not getting it done.
All right, but on the other side of the coin, Sam H, also for TNC, has been playing well. In fact, his Mirana is responsible for 5 of TNC's 7 wins. An insane plus 33 elo shift when Sam H plays Mirana. And that included their win over VP, where he personally killed Ramsey's gyrocopter 5 times and Rogers Io 4 times.
Yeah, so Marana's really good, and Sam H was definitely playing it right up there with the other top Marana players. Like Yawara was playing really good Marana.
Fada,
but
yeah.
Sam H was destroying it. He in there. Well, we'll get to my more memorable moment. I know you're going to ask me later. The TNC comeback versus Mega Creeps. Sam H held that line numerous times.
We can talk about it right now. I don't think we need to hold memorable moments for the end.
He held the line numerous times with his Marana, including a really cool play where he, like, as they were going on top at racks, he leaped into the trees so he could attack without being spotted. He then tried it a second time, and the second time it didn't work out as well.
Some of those things only work once.
Right. But regardless, it was really sweet.
Nice. Okay, give me your last disappointment.
Ame.
You are not an LGD Ame fan?
Not this turn. I mean, coming in, I think I said that my one worry about LGD was if Ame can carry some of the load for maybe. Ame is averaging 5.19 deaths. The only upper bracket core with a worse KDA than him is Topson. His KDA is by 3.3. Topson's the only upper bracket core with a worse KDA. Meanwhile, he's farming well. I think he is 6th in GPM at the turn. If you can't turn as a position 1, if you can't turn 6 GPM into a better KDA than 3.3, especially on a team that's 11 and 5, like,
yeah, how hard is maybe carrying you?
Right. I mean, that just like really worries me. I mean, like, all those things, high net worth and good team record should guarantee you like a 4.0 KDA just based on those two things, no matter who's playing core. And I mean, like, and it's inflated. Like, remember he got like the rampage or the double rampage to finish a game on Bloodseeker. He was 1-7 before that. Like, you take away those 6 kills or whatever.
Yeah.
What is this? I mean, it's even worse. So Ame's got to step up. Like, all the other key teams, LGD, EG, Liquid. In my opinion, Ame is the worst of the 8 cores from those teams.
Dang, shots fired. I mean, and I agree with you.
Yeah, right?
Okay, 2 memorable moments I want to highlight. Number 1, this happened way back on day 1. I almost forgot about it. But the second game that was played was, the first series that started was Fnatic versus Liquid. Liquid won game 1, Fnatic won game 2, 39-1.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a TI record.
By the way, the interesting part about the game, I remember part of that game being like, why is Liquid still holding out? The game took way too long.
Yeah, it was like a 40-minute game, 39-1.
Yeah.
And that was one of 2 Miracle Huskar games, both losses. Hey, Aden, we're about to talk meta. How do you like Huskar?
I'm confused as to why Huskar is being picked, and I'm even more confused about why Huskar is being picked without Dazzler or Oracle ever. Like,
fucking A.
I mean, I'm not saying Dazzle and Oracle are great right now, but you can't tell me they're so bad. Like, I don't know. Give it a try. Maybe try Huskar with one of them.
I was gonna say, in general, single heroes don't win Dota games. Combos win Dota games, and and Huskar plus a low life save is a really useful combo.
It is.
All right. Second memorable moment was just that totally demoralizing. So Newbie coming off 2 hour-long games against Secret. Newbie has to go straight back up against Optic in the match to decide who goes to the upper bracket of the 3 tied at 8 and 8. And Optic perfectly baits them with a Broodmother draft, a Broodmother last pick that they have no answer for whatsoever. 33 takes that mid and just owns the entire Newbie jungle, and chokes them out. So demoralizing. And I mean, as soon as it was picked, Cap and Blitz called it. They were like, "Oh, it just got baited." Yeah,
no, it was rough. I actually, that game was closer than I thought it was going to be based on the draft.
Yeah, and props to Newbie. Holy cow. Those 4 games, they beat Secret 2-0 to get themselves to that 8-8 tie. And then the fact that they were competitive in those 2 games, the Optic game and the Secret game, I was very impressed with Newbie's attention stamina there, because that's like 4.5 straight hours of Dota.
See it though in the last game, you could see it going.
Oh yeah, they finally lost it, but it was still really impressive showing, even those 2 straight losses, in my opinion.
Totally.
All right, let's move on. Meta. Okay, the most picked hero right now is Vengeful Spirit.
I like Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, 52% win rate.
I mean,
Tiny and Mirana, your next 2 most picked.
Right.
Sorry, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say Vengeful Spirit's like a good hero. That's not getting banned. I mean, that's typically what you have. Is it's not the best support that gets through, gets the most picked. It's like the 4th or 5th best support.
What is the best support right now?
Teams certainly seem to think it's Silencer.
Silencer is good.
CM maybe is up there. IO. I mean, it's like really those 3 and maybe Winter Wyvern, although probably not.
Yeah, IO is your most banned support, followed by Silencer, followed by Chen in the first phase.
Right. Those teams hate Silencer, and like in Silencer when he gets through, what's his win rate? Only 49%. So
yeah.
Crystal Maiden's at 52. Wyvern. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Vengeful Spirit's at 51. So I mean, like none of these supports have a significant win rate or
other than IO, 71% win rate on IO.
No.
Am I reading that wrong? Oh, 39% win rate on IO.
It's got a really bad win rate. That's the issue.
71% ban rate. Oh shit. My bad.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't sound right. Yeah. So.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's clear that this is a Mirana tournament, and I will be surprised if teams aren't banning it against. Well, I mean, coming to the main event, they've got a day off now to kind of sit there and be like, what do we know? What have we worked? What hasn't worked?
Well, right. Mirana and Enchantress, both of those are kind of devastating damage dealing cores that can be played in the off lane.
Mm-hmm.
I would hesitate to call any hero an off laner in the 2-1-2 meta, considering that the best teams are all playing kind of three-headed monster style.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and by the way, Mirana has the highest KDA of heroes that have been played more than a couple games, also on top of being the second highest pick rate and a 65% win rate. So I just can't imagine that hero gets through very often. Let's talk a little bit. You want to talk a little cheese drafts here?
Yeah, tell me about cheese. Oh, all right, so by the way, Aiden, go ahead and tell the listener or the listeners and viewers your favorite cheese that you volunteered in Discord chat, and I scoffed at you. You have the most boring taste in fucking cheese, dude.
I like mozzarella cheese.
You like cardboard.
I do. I don't eat the cardboard, but I like cardboard.
Sure. Anyhow. Go ahead. Cheese.
So the only cheese that seems to actually be working right now is the Dro strat, which has like almost not even cheese that's being used so much. Did a little interesting deeper digging though. So Dro was 13-7. Upper bracket teams when they played Dro were 9-1. Lower bracket 4-6. So my sort of like very basic interpretation of that is that upper bracket team, like, you know, Dro is a hero that if you are better than the other team, makes that distinction, like, it's really easy to push. Like, you don't get into like weird late game stuff. You just kind of like, get an advantage, and then you just go win the game. And if you're not better, it's a lot harder. So, I mean, that's a very simple analysis, but it does seem a little bit Dro did not scare me. Like, seeing people pick Dro did not scare me.
No, I agree. And I mean, thinking of I can think of some times when it shot teams in the foot, and obviously I think of Secret first when I think of that. They picked mid one drow one time, and holy shit, was it boring and useless. That is not a mid one hero.
Yeah. And I mean, by the way, most of Racket teams that picked the most were like Liquid. And who else picked it a bunch? Liquid was number one.
Yeah.
Picking it, I think. So, of the upper Racket teams at least. So, not good.
So, does that count as cheese? What else constitutes cheese?
Well, Huskar is the classic cheese pick. Huskar is 4 and 10, though. So, it's like, and again, no Oracle, no Dazzle. So, that doesn't really count too much. Brood is like got a decent record, 8 and 6. I'm not sure I consider Brood a cheese pick very much because it's being picked like first or second. So,
yeah, it's being picked in the first phase, and it's being picked, 3 or 4 times a day. Yeah, I wouldn't call that cheese.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, really good. The other one that's sort of like, I don't know if it's really quite cheese, but it's sort of thing. He's Alchemist. He is 7 and 9, and he's always picked in the last phase. Either 8, 9th, or 10. 7 and 9, but God, I'll tell you, he scared the crap out of me. Of all those heroes, like Huskar, Dro, Alchemist, when teams pick Alchemist last, it seemed that the raid boss factor was real. I did not like it. I did not want to be playing against an Alchemist. Sometimes you feel like the teams couldn't kill him. Didn't have enough damage.
Well, and most games between competitive teams are not being closed out in under 30 minutes. And so, you need to be able to go late, and Alchemist does.
Well, he doesn't go too late, though. You'll see. The Mega Creep comeback that TNC pulled off, part of the reason they got down Mega Creeps is they literally couldn't kill him. XXS just standard. And by the way, the other annoying thing about it is, you're used to being like, oh, Alchemist needs to have a 10k gold lead at 20 minutes or he's useless.
Right.
These Alchemist games, his team, sorry, not just him individually.
Yeah, I gotcha.
There were games when the Alchemist team and the other team were dead even at 30 minutes, and yet the Alchemist team was winning. And that just didn't make any sense to me. It takes totally away. That's what scares me. Is when you feel like you're doing everything you should be doing to beat that team, and yet that team is coming for you. It was really scary. I'm looking at that TNC Serenity game, which is what it was. At 20 minutes, it was dead even. And that's when Serenity, that should be TNC crushing you.
Right.
Because that's the equivalent of being ahead by 5 or 6k.
Yep.
10k. And sure, Serenity brought it back. There was another game. I think VP lost a game. Did we lose a game? I feel like VP. Maybe VP lost a game to Pain Gaming, who had it. And VP was ahead at 35 minutes. 35 minutes into the game, you're up 4k against an Alchemist team. That was admittedly the Ramses playing Void game.
Okay.
So,
but still, yeah, that sounds like you're smoking the Alchemist team.
Right. So that's why Alchemist scares me, is because I don't understand what's his timing window. It doesn't make any sense to me. But somehow he's 7 and 9, so I don't know what that means at all either. But, right. Who knows?
Totally. All right, you have a note that says Wyvern off? ?
So a couple of heroes being played out of position or out of normal position. So Wyvern was being played as an off laner. He was played 7 times and went through all 50 games or whatever he played. 3 and 4 as an off laner. Overall,
I like Wyvern as an off laner. Arctic Burn, if you're going to play him as a semi right clicker, that spell is dirty.
Yeah, it was entirely okay, but also not successful. One of those losses was this 80-minute game between Fnatic and Mineski. So maybe you throw that out and he's 3 and 3.
That's 50-50, yeah.
As a support, he was basically 50-50 too, 20 and 18.
Okay.
So that was interesting. Ursa is a little more interesting. He went 3 and 2, very small sample size, as a support, but has a garbage win rate as a core. So what's he gonna do? That makes him. His overall win rate's 39%.
Dang.
Ursa, he's picked a lot. 39 games, 41% win rate. You take away the 3 and 2 he is, it's worse. So nothing too big to conclude from those, but it's kind of interesting to look at how they worked when they were being played in different positions.
what is the usefulness of Ursa support?
Wins lanes,
Huh.
kills egg. It was used at least once against the egg.
Kills egg. Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah, it's all being done. 3 of them were by Newbie, 1 by Serenity, and 1 by VGJ, I think. So,
Okay, this is a Chinese. This is a thing that happens in Chinese pubs that they tried to bring to TI.
It's not awful, but I mean, it is kind of like if you, depending on what other heroes you have. I mean, like if you can, like a couple times Kaka got farmed on it, and then you've got a 4th like Ursa as your position. Like Ursa is not that dangerous late game because if Ursa's got your farm, they can't put it all to use. You just kite him. But when you're like trying to deal with like what I'm looking for one of the games where they played him.
Sure. So this is the same reason support Weaver is kind of interesting.
So Newbie did it against Secret.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, and so you've got a Wraith King, a Lina, and a Mirana. So Lina and Mirana are your main cores. So I can just imagine you're trying to like lock down the Lina and the Mirana to finish them off, and then the Bear, who normally you'd be like, all right, we need Ursa to take out the cores because that's our damage. Instead, the Bear is jumping on Puppy's like silencer. That kind of sucks. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, no one wants that shit.
Right.
So I thought that was a little interesting tidbit.
No doubt.
All right, what are you seeing in the meta, Lorton?
Sure. So the 2 player hero combinations that had the highest elo shift were Yapzor playing Dark Willow, who's 4-1 on that hero, average KDA of 8, 2, and 19. Holy shit! That I think that hero is strong in his hands. If I had to say.
A couple of other players who are playing it really well, but Yaps are definitely seemed top of the.
Oh, no question. And and I think you give Roger 48 hours. It's gonna be a pretty scary pick for VP too.
He was playing it. He played it a couple times reasonably well. I think he died. He wasn't quite as evasive as Yapzor.
Well, and that's to Yapzor's play style. Do you want to ask me the question that you asked over Hangouts today?
Yeah. At what point, Lorton, is it detrimental to your team that your position 4 player has the 6th best KDA at the tournament?
So you're saying, the point you're making is Yapzor has a way higher KDA than any other support, which he does. And I would be tempted to take the bait here, except it's not that, like, I don't think he has a high KDA from stealing kills, because he's like 5th in assists.
Right, it's because he's got low deaths.
He's got low deaths, and it's hard for me to imagine that he should be throwing his life away more and Secret would be winning more games.
All right, so the counterpoint is that we see teams so Ace has got more deaths, Fada's got more deaths, Mid One's got more deaths. Ace is like the closest. Obviously, Puppies, I haven't looked at Puppies, but Puppies
Sure.
have more deaths. I mean, I think a lot of other teams, their position 4s, throw their bodies in the way to let their cores live. I don't remember Yapzor being like, I
got this one.
Sorry, I couldn't get there. There's a creep camp. I'm just gonna go, right? Like,
I agree with you. I don't ever recall an instance of Yapzor doing that. To be fair, when a third of your games are played on Dark Willow and you have Shadow Realm, sometimes you have the escape when your core doesn't.
Okay, but this is typical of Yapzor. This is not just like he's all of a sudden doing it.
I'm like throwing obstacles in your way, trying to keep you from this point. That is a pretty strong point by you.
And by the way, I don't blame Yapzor for this. Like, obviously, this is part of the team's game plan because I guarantee you, the team knows Yapzor is like not dying very often. Like, They're not stupid. If we can figure it out, I'm sure they already have, and they've been like, yeah, we're all right with this.
Well, right, and this is a point I make all the time. I would much rather try to maximize each of my players' strengths than try to fit them into the team composition that makes another team successful. So if Yapzor has really good situational awareness and just gets out of shit more often, I think that's probably a net good for the team.
So this, by the way, is I think Yapzor's weakness. Yapzor is a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
I think this is what keeps him from the tier 1 position 4s, which would be GH, Roger, Jerax, FY, Crit maybe, those 5, right? I think they are a little bit more flexible in how you can ask them to play. I mean, look at how like Roger went from being this the roaming god to this lane dominating Skywrath in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Absol just doesn't quite. He's got more of a style and he sticks to it.
I'll agree with you there. Okay, last observation on last observation on meta. Mirana plus Dark Willow is the best hero pair for elo shift. With the minimum games, they were 10-1 together. Some of those were played by Secret, but I mean Mirana and Dark Willow not uncommon in this tournament. But that's a pretty filthy combination. On the other side of the coin, Crystal Maiden Wraith King, one of the worst. 3 and 6 on that pair, -12 elo shift.
Lorton, you can't see me, so I was laughing during that because I just realized you've done a shit job with this video.
Oh yeah?
Like the little orange thing.
Oh shit!
Around whatever we're on. Come on, we're on the group stage. We missed the entire one.
All right. Well, here I'll fix it now. So sorry, fam.
Anyways, moving on.
Is it time to move on to main event predictions?
Yeah. So let's just skip over TI8 group stage.
No chance. We were on that for a good 4 seconds.
Done. Counts.
Done. All right. Main event predictions. First exercise for you, Aden. Power rank the upper bracket teams. And I don't want you to power rank their chances of winning based on matchups or anything. Just power rank them 1 to 8 or 8 to 1, however you want it.
Start at the top. Liquid.
Yeah.
No one should be surprised by that.
Oh, and I'm going to read off the Glicko 2 ratings real quick. According to Glicko 2, VP, LGD, Liquid, VGJ.Storm, Secret, EG, long pause, Optic, another long pause, OG.
Okay, so that may be true, but betting odds have Liquid clearly as the favorite.
By the way, I have Liquid number 1 as well.
Yeah, Liquid's the best team. They won. They have the best record, tied with EG, and they beat EG 2-0. So, Liquid.
And that was a resounding victory over a very good EG team.
I was really excited for that series, and
dude, to me it lived up to the hype, but it was still a beatdown.
Yeah. So I have Liquid, I have EG, I have VP, I have LGD, and I have VGJ.Storm.
Okay, so I'll quibble with you a little bit. EG over VP, I'm not convinced. I have VP number 2, and I know you're very critical of your boys.
Yeah, I don't. VP is a confidence team, and they don't seem to be playing confidently and aggressively. And they did against VGJ.Storm, so maybe they'll get it back. But as a body of work, their group stage did not convince me. And to be fair, Virtus.Pro has had an unconvincing group stages, like at Katowice, and they've been dominated the main event, so could go either way. But right now, by the betting markets have Virtus.Pro and EG tied in their odds.
Which I think is appropriate for the markets. I mean, these are...
And also because EG has a easier path, like, let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so I have Liquid, VP, EG. We agree on LGD. We agree on VGJ.Storm. Who's next for you?
You're not going to like this. OG.
You have OG ahead of Secret. Wow.
I have OG ahead of Secret. I have OG number 6.
Okay, that's fine. I do not.
Okay, all right. So let me back it up a little bit. First of all, we know we don't know much about OG. They stomped EU qualifiers. That tells us absolutely nothing of importance, except they're not like absolute awful team that doesn't deserve to be here. Secondly, let's look at their record against teams that are not Liquid, LGD, and EG, right? So we're just gonna take that record away, or take those teams away. They go 7-3.
Okay.
Right. So let's take away VGJ.Storm and Virtus.Pro, and let's see what's Secret's record without those two teams.
Not as good as OG's. But we
They are
both agree Group B
7-5.
had. We both agree that the mid to low level of Group B was much tougher than Group A.
Right, but they also OG had another 2 guaranteed losses from playing the big boys. Anyways, I've got OG. They're playing better right now. Yeah, and they're still gonna get their asses kicked by VGJ.Storm. I'm pretty sure.
I agree with that.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Do you have Optic ahead of Secret?
God, I don't even know, man. I wish they'd played their final tiebreaker yesterday, so that I could make it based off of that. No, I probably don't. I mean, like, here's the bottom line. If I don't know, you know who probably knows?
Who's that?
Liquid. Guess who Liquid wanted to play?
They wanted to play Optic, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah,
I mean, right.
as well.
Right. Secret has beaten Liquid in a grand final. Optic has not sniffed that.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Good. All right. That was a useful exercise. Next, I want to pick the 4 lower bracket matches. You up for that?
Sure.
Okay. Upper or lower bracket match number 1 is Fnatic versus Serenity. I love this matchup. I think this is going to be really fun.
Could be a 15-minute beatdown. No one knows this TI. I refuse to make a prediction with any confidence.
Right. You have the team that beat Liquid 39-1 versus Serenity, one of the most Jekyll and Hyde teams in history.
The number of times in our Discord chat where someone was like, "Oh my God, Serenity's so good," and then the next game they get blown out and be down by like 20K at 20 minutes.
To be fair to those people in our Discord, Serenity's was really good at those times.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's 100% realistic. Like, they were just going. I mean, they were Jekyll and Hyde. No other way to say it.
Yeah. So who do you have in this one?
I picked Fnatic, but like, it's a toss-up to me.
Yeah, I took Serenity,
Yeah,
and I agree it's a
are-
toss-up.
BO1s are crazy.
All right, your boys TNC playing their Southeast Asia rivals in a super disappointing best-of-1 matchup because let's be real, we don't need to see your regional rivals playing in the best-of-1.
No, I would love to see them play a group 2. I mean, Mineski has owned TNC most of this year,
Yeah.
but God, I don't know. I didn't get to watch that many of their games because there were other games that were more interesting. But Mineski shit the fucking bed.
Let's see. Yeah, well, 0-2 to all of the good teams, and then 1-1 versus IG, 1-1 Fnatic, 0-2 to OG, 1-1 VGJ Thunder. The only team they 2-0'd was Winstrike. Yeah, Mineski not looking amazing. TNC.
2-0'd VG Gaming, 2-0'd Optic Gaming.
Yeah.
1-1 against Pain, VP, and Team Serenity. That's a better track record.
It certainly is.
So I'm gonna go TNC. I have to.
I go Mineski. I'm just thinking back to the last time this the similar situation happened. Actually, Ice was involved in this one. Was the Kiev Major when we had Lyrical Dota on. Lyrical was convinced that TNC was going to beat Faceless because TNC had looked better in the Swiss format, but Faceless going back. Knowing their opponents really well, went ahead and beat them again. I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Mineski TNC.
Those are the 2 options.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, what do you got about newbie Winstrike? Do we need to really discuss this one?
Oh, wait, you don't have Winstrike?
No, I don't.
I do not have Winstrike either. I think Newbie's going to crush them, especially after their super disappointing loss in the tiebreaker.
Right. I've been down on newbie this year, and coming into this, I'm not so down on newbie that I think they're going to lose to Winstrike. They have proven themselves to be an entirely adequate average TI team. Winstrike have not demonstrated that.
No. And Winstrike hasn't had the highs of somebody like Serenity, for example.
Right.
All right, last one, probably most interesting lower bracket, well, second most interesting behind Fnatic Serenity, is VGJ Thunder versus Vici Gaming.
Yeah, you want to talk about a team that's Jekyll and Hyde a little bit? Thunder, I feel, are, well, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. So Thunder beat the only 2 teams they 2-0'd. They were 6-10. They 2-0'd IG and Winstrike. Vici Gaming, on the other hand, 2-0'd VP, 2-0'd Newbie. Yeah, I mean, I guess they got 2-0'd by Optic and TNC. I don't know. That doesn't seem that bad in retrospect, right?
Right.
Decent teams. I don't know. I gotta pick. Vici Gaming.
I picked Vici Gaming too, but I don't feel great about it. You know, what is that thing we talked about a couple times? This is a stat from the NFL, but I think it holds true in Dota too, which is that the better mark of a dominant team is that they consistently crush inferior teams rather than their performance against good teams.
Right.
And VGJ Thunder actually holds that better than Vici Gaming. Still, I can't pick VGJ Thunder to advance. I do pick Vici Gaming.
And remember, guys, best of ones, like, when we say any of these teams, we pick them, we're picking them at most 60-40. Like, there's no game there's no series I'm more confident in than 60. Maybe 65-35 newbie win strike, maybe. But, I mean, you give me 2-1 odds on newbie, would I take that? Would you take 2-1 odds?
On who?
For newbie?
To do what?
So you think newbie's got a 66% chance of winning?
Right.
That's borderline, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, the confidence in any best of one not high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Lord. What's next?
Okay. Quickly, I want us to pick a lower bracket team that's poised to make a deep run, and I'll give you some historical facts. In the last 5 years, there have only been 2 lower bracket teams that made deep runs. There was none last year. All of the deep teams were from the upper bracket. There was none at TI3, none at TI4. At TI5, Vici Gaming, who were returning 3 of their 5 from the 2014 runner-up squad, they made a deep run. The 5 that year were How, Super, Ice Ice Ice, FY, and Fenrir. The following year, the deep run was Fnatic. That was Mushi, Mid One, Ohio, DJ, and 343.
They got to 4th?
They were 4th, that's right. So the only thing I saw in common between those 2 lower bracket runs were that in any given game, they were not picking the same heroes. They were picking stuff from all over the place, and I think they were surprising people by doing that. So that's my historical fact to guide your prediction if you have one.
Who gets to run into secret?
Say again?
I said, who gets to run into the easier the path? None of the. So it's not going to be TNC or Mineski, because they're going to run into LGD or VP.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to limit those 2. It's not about them. It's about
the Buzzsaw.
Yeah, the Buzzsaw coming. Well, I picked Vici Gaming. I still have faith in them.
Yeah, Vici Gaming is an interesting one because they would get the loser of EG Secret, who I think the betting markets would have Secret there, and then Serenity potentially interesting because they do pick kind of a lot of heroes.
Right, and they would get Optic. But then they also they're going to run into LGD or VP in the next round.
Well, 2 rounds later. Oh yeah, you're right.
But in theory, Vici Gaming could get by with Secret and then OG, or Secret and Newbie. And get their ass kicked by somebody. Yeah,
the lower side is riper for that. All right, that's cool. All right, last thing I want to do.
Guess what?
Go ahead.
Prize pool just exceeded last year's. It's literally like $2,000 over last year's right this moment.
Right on schedule. Well, weren't you saying that?
$1,200 over right now.
It'd be funny if it were $322.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing I want to do is pick the upper bracket matches, Aiden.
All right. Can we throw out the easy ones?
Sure. Which are the easy ones?
Liquid.
All right, Liquid over Optic Gaming. What do you is that like a 90-10 proposition?
Yeah.
Okay.
EG over Secret.
I have Secret taking it, but that's mostly wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, okay, so you're saying they're not taking it.
No, I have them in my bracket, and I would not be at all shocked if they did it. And I respect that EG appears to be the better team.
Okay, whatever. You don't actually. I'm literally saying I'm picking them, but I have no faith in that. So okay, all right.
I have a good amount of faith in my pick. I just don't have a lot of data to support it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to the 2-inch show. Let's do VGJ.Storm versus OG.
Sure. I mean, I have VGJ.Storm here.
Yeah.
So why is this an interesting one?
Well, I just think it's closer. I think this is like a plausible one. I mean,
Sure.
OG has got momentum. VGJ.Storm's got a distraction of no coach. They also got distraction for just getting their asses handed to them by VP. OG's got plenty of good Dota minds who know that the small hero pool a couple of VGJ.Storm players have. You don't think that they can come up with a way to rattle them?
I do think all of those things are plausible, and so let's say I have VGJ.Storm as a 62% favorite in this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say 65, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So,
the mother
but
of
you
all
think
series-
EG is a 70-30 over Secret then?
I was gonna say 75-25.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think it's much closer than that. I would say 60-40 at best.
Yeah, because Secret was like how big of a favorite to not get 2-0'd by newbie?
That's fine. Oh, and right, the other mark against Secret in that one is that Fly's record versus his old captain, pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So now the big game, the first round match that everyone is waiting for, because we all thought it was going to be the grand finals, right?
I did not, but go on.
I didn't actually either, but we all thought it was going to come late in the tournament.
Yeah.
VP versus LGD.
So this is interesting because neither of these teams has played up to what we thought their potential was going into this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have VP taking it, but the historical record is definitely in LGD's favor. What are they 3-1 in their last series, and the one was a kind of a fluke.
Yeah.
It was a complete fluke.
Yeah.
It was all because of Rogers' heroics.
Right. So I go back and forth on this. LGD, historical record against VP, good. VP has 2 cores I trust. LGD doesn't. VP coming off of actually beating a good team. Has LGD beaten anyone good at TI? I think they took 1 game off of somebody. Did they even?
They took 1 game off Liquid.
Yeah. So they took a game off Liquid.
They also dropped a game to VGJ Thunder, dropped a game to OG, dropped 2 games to EG.
I mean, VP. Don't get me wrong. VP Gaming has shit the bed against some bad teams this tournament, but they also showed what they can do and beat the shit out of VGJ.Storm, who is that's a better series than any series LGD has had.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but so I mean, I can go either way. I go back and forth. I don't want to jinx it, but I did take VP.
I took VP, and I put this one at 51% VP.
That seems fair.
Yeah. All right, and in your compendium.
By the way, I do want to point out I have LGD beating them in the rematch in lower bracket round 5. Okay, so hedging my bets.
Okay, I have them meeting again in the lower bracket, and I have VP winning that one on their way to the grand final, where they lose to Liquid.
All right.
In a replay of the Super Major. What does your compendium say?
About what? Who's going to win?
Oh yeah, or how does that who's in the upper bracket final and the
Liquid
lower
versus EG, and then EG loses to LGD, who just beat VP, and it's LGD Liquid in the finals, and I've got Liquid winning.
That's a very plausible scenario as well.
Yeah. All right, Lorton. What's next? Got anything else?
Oh well, I thought that. Oh, so yeah, we are excuse me. Let me click over and make sure. Set it on low prio and last hits. Now I will announce that we have no low prio or last hits queued up here. So I thought we should give our viewers and listeners a taste of what it's actually like most of the time when we record the glimpse, which is, oh fuck, Aiden, we didn't write a sign-off joke.
Did you reverse? Oh, well, that's really weird.
What? Are you
Sorry,
mirrored?
Yeah, I'm mirrored. That's really distracting. Because I've got like the video of myself on my laptop here. That's what I'm recording with.
Uh-huh.
And then I've got the video of the stream up there that I'm occasionally checking on, and I'm mirrored. and it's really, really weird.
Well, you shouldn't be mirrored on the stream. On the stream, I can read strats.com.
Yeah, but
That's how it should be.
dude, I'm 100% mirrored. This is really weird.
Wait, in real life, is the strats.com thing backward?
It's like, okay, so maybe, you know what it is? It's like,
No, right. You should
Apple
be
thing.
mirrored on your laptop.
I'm
Like-
not totally taking a picture of this just so you can see how like the microphone is on different sides of my face. Can't even tell you.
Yeah, all right. Hold it up to the screen. This is going to be super meta.
All right, there it is. You can see the mic on both ways is backwards.
Yeah, but on the stream, you can read strats.com.
And hold it closer again.
On the yeah,
Like
no. I get that, but the stream is correct, and your laptop Zoom is mirroring you so that it's easier for you to stay in frame because.
Oh, okay, all right. I did not realize that was happening.
I think that's pretty typical on chat applications.
So I think that's about as good as a sign-off joke as we've ever had.
Great. Well, I'm just going to quickly remind everybody here, if you want to ask us questions and play Dota with us, you should join our Discord. You can find the link at glimpsepod.com. That's glimpsepod.com. Aiden, maybe you want to put that in the Twitch chat in case we have a Twitch person who's not in our Discord. You can follow me on Twitter at SharkButler. You can follow Aiden on Twitter at OmegaManDota. Thanks to Replacement Level Adam, who had nothing to do with this broadcast. Thanks to Jason Bates, audio engineer and on-air talent last episode. Thank you, Jason. On Twitter at ButteredToast11. All right, Aiden. There was no sign-off joke question other than you figuring out that most video chat applications are mirrored. So until next time, why don't you sign us the fuck off, please?
Till next time. Wait, what do I usually say? I usually have this written down. Fuck.
Are you not reading it?
Until next time, this is Aiden Stammerkoff, and back you go.
Back you
How was
go.
that?